Well, today, a Marion County judge said the system failed an Indianapolis woman who was shot and killed by the father of her baby.
So the judge gave that father, Orlando Mitchell, the maximum sentence for murdering Crystal Walton. He gunned her down outside a daycare on the west side of Indianapolis. Our Rich Nye was in the courtroom for that sentencing today, and tonight shares reaction from her family.
A camera was not allowed in the courtroom for Orlando Mitchell's sentencing. This video is from a previous court hearing. This is video of Crystal Walton's family and friends who filled the gallery Tuesday.
We want everybody to remember, to know that Crystal was very well loved then, now, and forever. She'll never, ever be forgotten.
In September 2022, Mitchell ambushed Walton, shooting her in the face after she dropped off her two kids at Charity Child Care on West 10th Street in Hawville. Mitchell ignored the protective order Walton had in place for an alleged strangling incident in March 2021 when Walton was pregnant with their son. In that case, Mitchell took a plea agreement for domestic battery with 1 day in jail and 1 year probation.
As this trial is ending, we're also able to see the effect that it'll have on the community. And hopefully lawmakers, judges will come together and start making better decisions as far as the laws and making stiffer penalties so we can prevent some of these senseless murders.
The judge gave Mitchell 66 years in prison for murder and invasion of privacy.
In giving Mitchell the maximum sentence, Judge Charles Miller said that during the trial, Mitchell seemed to take pride and delight in what he did. The judge said that he believed that Mitchell was happy that the murder was caught on security camera for an audience to watch.
Mitchell next faces another murder trial for the strangulation death of Deputy John Durham while in custody in July 2023. That is a death penalty case.
Hopefully compounding with that, we'll be looking at a death penalty. I'm praying for it every day. Along with that, I'm praying that I'm alive to see him take his last breath.
That trial is scheduled for August of next year. Rich Nye, 13 News.
The executive director of Charity Child Care also testified today. She said that Mitchell took away the sanctity of a place that more than 300 children call home every single day. And she said that corner of Hawville will never be the same.
Tonight, Metro Police detectives are trying to figure out if a fight between family members led to a deadly shooting. It happened just after 9:30 this morning near 38th Street in North Keystone. That's on the near northeast side of Indy. Officers found two men who had been shot when they arrived. One was in critical condition and later died. Officers did not provide the other person's condition except to say that he was stable. Police also detained a third person but have not said how they may have been involved in the shooting. And tonight, a 16-year-old boy is charged with murder after a deadly shooting a little more than 2 months ago. Court documents say Xavion Nixon shot and killed his father, 37-year-old Rodney Nixon Jr. He died in the shooting back in January on North Warman Avenue near West Washington Street. That's on the near west side of Indy. A witness says his mother encouraged Xavion to shoot his dad. The coroner says Rodney was shot 3 times from behind. Police identified the teen as a possible suspect months ago and arrested him on January 30th on an active warrant for dangerous possession of a firearm. Since then, detectives were able to build a case against the teen for murder, and they arrested him on that warrant this week.
All right, we want to give you a live look over downtown Indianapolis tonight, where we've seen blue skies and sunshine all day today. Really was pretty nice out there today. It felt a lot better than it did yesterday. But boy, oh boy, looking ahead, it's going to be a different story at this time tomorrow. And that's why tomorrow has been designated by our team of meteorologists to be a weather impact alert day. So Angela's off tonight. Sean is here looking ahead with what looks to be a pretty stormy night tomorrow night.
Yeah. We'll have some storms around tomorrow morning, and then we're going to have a lot of time where I think some folks are going to be like, what is this weather impact day you're talking about? And then boom, it's going to hit later tomorrow evening.
Oh.
So yes. So this thing is a ways away from us, and it's back out in the central part of the country. We're definitely on the cooler side of it, but this is what we call the warm sector, and that's where we're going to be come tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be much more humid. It's going to be windy. It's going to be warm, and that cold front will have some ingredients to play with in the atmosphere. Let's set the stage for you here this evening. We're quiet. Some mid-level clouds are on the increase. They're harmless. They will keep us warmer tonight. We're in the 40s tomorrow morning versus the 20s we had this morning. Even before we get to the thunderstorms, we're going to be windy all day long. Gust over 40 miles per hour. Here's future track 13. The entire state remains under a level 3. The southern part of the state now under a level 4. There's a little higher likelihood of tornadoes there, but even though we're not in a level 4, this bears your watching, and we're going to be following this thing closely. This is by 6 p.m. And then once we get toward 8 or 9, this thing is going to be going crazy over us here. We're going to have the whole 9 yards. Heavy rain, pockets of severe wind gust, and rotation within that. And then we'll have more rain ahead. We'll talk about the flooding aspect of all of this in a few minutes.
All right, Sean, thank you so much. And we want to make sure that you are ready to keep track of this severe weather that Sean's talking about that's arriving tomorrow.
Well, all you need to do that is to download WTHR Plus. It is our free TV streaming app.
So go ahead and download it tonight. So that way you can follow along with our team of meteorologists tomorrow as they provide minute-by-minute updates on the storms as they come in. And tonight we're learning what led to the Morgan County prosecutor to charge the husband of a former teacher who she now is accused of sexually abusing several of her students. Investigators now say that Nicholas Fortenberry knew about the abuse, and he even made threats toward the students if they didn't stop having sex with his wife, Brittany Fortenberry. In court documents, an investigator quoted the husband, Nicholas, as saying, quote, "If you don't stop what you're doing with my wife, then I'm going to kill you in front of your family." He is now charged with intimidation and failure to report. He was released on a $600 bond. Prosecutors have filed a motion to add 10 counts of child molestation among other charges against his wife, pictured here. This is 31-year-old Brittany Fortenberry. In the court documents, investigators say that victims told them that she would take them to her home where she then would have sex with them in exchange for money and other gifts. So right now, she is being held at the Morgan County Jail. There is a hearing scheduled for Thursday. Our Logan Gay today is taking a closer look at these new developments today and is going to be joining us with continuing coverage with what else she's learned about that case today here on 13 News at 6 o'clock.
Well, tonight we're hearing from Planned Parenthood about tens of millions of dollars cut from the clinics in Indiana and several other states.
The organization estimates that Indiana's Title X cuts will add up to $550,000 a year. The CEO told us today that Title X is the only national family planning program, and roughly 3,000 patients here in Indiana use these services at 11 healthcare centers across the state.
So those are services like birth control, sexually transmitted infection, testing and treatment, cancer screenings, breast health exams, annual wellness exams. So those are the services that are provided under Title X. Title X expressly prohibits any of those dollars being used for abortion care. And in a state like Indiana, where there's already an abortion ban, Title X dollars in the state of Indiana are used specifically to provide access to contraceptive and preventive services.
Gibran says for now the health centers here in Indiana will remain open, and the organization plans to continue to fight for access to sexual and reproductive care for patients regardless of their immigration status, their insurance status, and their ability to pay.
Tonight, a new look at the transformation of Circle Center Mall.
Just earlier today, the developer announced the project's first closure as they get ready for construction. So this step comes nearly a year after the developer took over that property downtown.
Our Marion County reporter Lauren Kostick shares the next steps in this massive project.
The first thing people will notice is how empty it is here on the south end of the mall. You can see tenants are gone, the escalators are turned off, all of it to prepare for this years-long construction process.
We've certainly never done this exact thing before, but we're definitely up for the challenge.
Lance Evinger with Hendricks Commercial Properties says the project will be done in phases. The end goal? To turn the 2 downtown blocks into a mixed-use open-air property. Starting this month, the developer will shut down the south end of the mall closest to Georgia Street. The closure will include the skywalk that leads to the convention center and hotels. This will allow crews to do testing and selective demolition to make sure they can build what they designed.
We're going to be tearing things around. We're going to be building on top. So, really that area needs to be closed like it's a construction zone to do that investigation.
The real construction is expected to start sometime next year. And it's also important to note that the mall's main concourse, food court, and parking garages will remain open, and also all the exterior restaurants. In Indianapolis, Lauren Kostick, 13 News.
Now, in total, this project is expected to cost $600 million and add 300 apartment units.
So the construction is planned for 2 phases, with the first set to be wrapped in 2030. So we've got a ways to go, 5 years from now.
Yeah.